Rome, Italy. September 1960. Olympic Village press room. An 18-year-old kid from Louisville, Kentucky, sits at a table. Cassius Clay. Nobody outside America knows his name yet. Across from him, Gennadiy Shatkov, Soviet light heavyweight, 28 years old, experienced, battle-tested, representing the USSR at the height of the Cold War. A reporter asks Shatkov, "What do you think of American boxers?" Shatkov smirks, looks directly at Cassius, says in broken English, "American boxers. Soft, weak, we crush them. Easy." The room goes quiet, all eyes on Cassius, waiting for his reaction. Cassius doesn't say anything, just stares at Shatkov, memorizing his face, his arrogance, his smirk. Then Cassius stands up, walks out of the press room. Silent. 2 days later, they fight. Light heavyweight finals. 2 rounds later, the entire Soviet boxing team is silent. And what happened in that ring didn't just win Cassius Clay an Olympic gold medal. It announced to the world, a new kind of fighter has arrived, and he fears nothing. Not even the Soviets. Let me give you the context. Rome Olympics, 1960. This isn't just sports. This is war by other means. USA versus USSR. Democracy versus communism. Freedom versus control. Every event is a proxy battle. Every victory is propaganda. And boxing. Boxing is the ultimate test of manhood, of toughness, of national pride. The Soviets dominate Olympic boxing. Their system is brutal. State-sponsored training camps, 12 hours a day. No distractions, no softness, just pure, relentless conditioning. Soviet boxers are machines. Technically perfect, physically powerful, mentally unbreakable. And they know it. They walk around the Olympic Village like they own it, intimidating everyone, making sure everyone knows we are superior. Then there's the American team, talented but undisciplined. Most are kids from amateur gyms. No state funding, no professional system. They train when they can, work jobs, go to school. The Soviets look at them with contempt, see them as soft, privileged, weak. And to be fair, in previous Olympics, they were right. Soviets dominated Americans in boxing, destroyed them, made them look amateur. But 1960 is different, because 1960 has Cassius Clay, 18 years old, light heavyweight division, from Louisville, Kentucky, trained by a police officer named Joe Martin in a small gym. No state funding, no professional system, just talent, raw, explosive talent. Cassius has never been to Europe, never fought internationally, never faced anyone like the Soviets. He's terrified, but he'd never admit it. This is the story of how an 18-year-old kid from Kentucky faced a Soviet boxing machine and changed everything. Subscribe, because what happens in this fight doesn't just win gold, it creates a legend. Now let me show you the press conference that started it all. September 3rd, 1960, Olympic Village, press room, international media everywhere. The boxing teams are doing press conferences. Standard protocol. Meet the fighters, ask questions, build hype. The Soviet team enters. 7 boxers, all look like soldiers. Crew cuts, stone faces, matching tracksuits with USSR emblems. They sit at a long table, perfectly still, perfectly disciplined, intimidating. Then the American team enters. Cassius is among them, tall, lanky, baby-faced, looks young, looks nervous. The Soviets watch the Americans sit down. One of them, Gennadiy Shatkov, whispers something to his teammate. They both smirk. A reporter asks the Soviet coach, "How do you assess the American team this year?" The coach, through a translator, "Americans are improving, but they lack discipline. They lack the Soviet fighting spirit. We expect to dominate, as always." Another reporter, to Shatkov, "You're in the light heavyweight division. What do you think of the American in your weight class?" Shatkov looks across the room at Cassius. Cassius is fidgeting, tapping his foot, nervous energy. Shatkov says in broken English, refusing to use the translator because he wants Cassius to understand. "American boxers, soft like, how you say, pillow. We hit them. They fall, easy." He makes a dismissive hand gesture, like swatting a fly. Soviet boxer, strong. American boxer, weak. This is truth. The room tenses. American reporters look uncomfortable. Soviet reporters nod approvingly. All eyes turn to Cassius, waiting for his response. Cassius stares at Shatkov. His face hardens. The nervousness vanishes, replaced by something cold, focused. An American reporter asks, "Cassius, do you have a response?" Cassius stands up, still staring at Shatkov, says quietly, "I'll see you in the ring," then walks out. The press room erupts, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. But Cassius doesn't stop, doesn't look back, just leaves. Outside, one of his teammates catches up. "Cassius, why'd you leave? You could have said something back." "Cassius, words don't win fights. I'll let my hands talk." But inside, Cassius is furious. Not just at Shatkov, at the entire Soviet system. The arrogance, the assumption that Americans are soft. That night, Cassius doesn't sleep. He's visualizing, over and over, the fight, the victory, the moment he makes Shatkov regret every word. September 5th, 1960, Palazzo dello Sport, light heavyweight quarterfinals. The arena is packed, 10,000 people, half rooting for Americans, half rooting for Soviets. Cold War tension thick in the air. Cassius sits in his corner. His trainer gives instructions, but Cassius isn't listening. His eyes are locked on the opposite corner. Shatkov enters, 28 years old, 6'1", 178 pounds, muscular, confident. He looks at Cassius with the same smirk from the press conference. The referee calls them to the center, gives instructions. They touch gloves. Shatkov says something in Russian. Cassius doesn't understand the words, but understands the tone. Mocking, Cassius says nothing, just stares. They return to corners. The bell rings. Round 1. Cassius comes out bouncing. His style is unusual. Hands low, moving constantly, side to side, unpredictable. Shatkov comes out methodical, orthodox, Soviet style, high guard. Moving forward, trying to cut the ring. Shatkov throws a jab, testing range. Cassius slips it, counters with 2 quick jabs of his own. Snap, snap, fast. Shatkov's head pops back, surprise on his face. Cassius circles left. Shatkov follows, throws a combination. Jab cross hook, textbook Soviet technique. Cassius makes him miss everything. Not by much, just enough. 6 inches, flowing. Then Cassius counters. Jab, right hand, left hook. 3 punches in 1 second. All land clean. Shatkov stumbles back, not hurt, but shocked. The crowd roars. Americans going crazy. Soviets quiet. Cassius keeps moving. Jab, 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 establishing range, controlling distance, making Shatkov chase. Shatkov getting frustrated. This isn't supposed to happen. Americans are supposed to be easy, supposed to be soft, but this kid is fast, faster than anyone Shatkov has faced. And those punches, they're not power shots, but they're sharp, stinging, accumulating. Round 1 ends. Cassius walks to his corner, calm, controlled, not even breathing hard. Shatkov walks to his corner, his face red, his coach speaking urgently in Russian. Shatkov nodding, but his eyes show doubt. The American corner. Trainer. Perfect. Cassius. Keep moving. He can't catch you. Cassius. I'm going to knock him out next round. Trainer. No. Stick to the plan. Box him. Win on points. Cassius. I'm knocking him out. There's something in Cassius's voice. A certainty. A coldness. The trainer recognizes it. This isn't bravado. This is intent. Bell rings. Round 2. Cassius comes out different. More aggressive. Not reckless, but purposeful. Shatkov comes out desperate. Needs to land something big. Needs to prove Soviet superiority. Throws a heavy right hand. Cassius sees it coming from a mile away. Slips it. The punch passes over his shoulder. Then Cassius explodes. Combination. Jab, jab right. Hand left. Hook right. Uppercut. 5 punches in 2 seconds. All land clean. Shatkov's head snapping back and forth like a speed bag. The crowd erupts. Americans on their feet, screaming. Shatkov backs up, covering, trying to survive, but Cassius isn't done. He's making a statement now, not just to Shatkov, to every Soviet boxer watching, to the entire Soviet system. You called us weak. Watch this. Cassius corners. Shatkov throws another combination. Body head. Scientific, brutal, precise. Shatkov tries to clinch. Cassius pushes him off. Throws a straight right hand. Boom. Clean on the chin. Shatkov's legs wobble. His eyes glaze. He's hurt. The referee steps in. Looks at Shatkov, considering stopping it. But Shatkov waves him off. Tough, proud, refuses to quit. The referee allows it to continue. Mistake. Cassius doesn't go wild, doesn't rush, stays disciplined, just keeps boxing. Jab, jab, move, right hand, move, left hook, move. Every punch lands. Shatkov can't defend, can't counter, can't do anything but survive. The bell rings, end of round 2. Shatkov stumbles to his corner, his face swollen, blood from his nose. His coach looks concerned. In the Soviet corner, there's an argument. The coach wants to stop it, Shatkov refusing. Pride won't let him quit, but the referee has seen enough. Between rounds, he walks to the Soviet corner, examines Shatkov, checks his eyes, his responses, makes a decision, waves the fight off. Technical knockout. Cassius Clay wins, advances to the arena explodes. Americans celebrating, chanting USA, USA, USA. The Soviet section, silent, stunned. Their golden boy just got dominated by an 18-year-old American kid. After the fight, Cassius is surrounded by media, American reporters celebrating, but Cassius isn't gloating. He's calm, focused. Reporter, how does it feel to beat a Soviet boxer? Cassius feels good, but I'm not done. I'm winning gold. Reporter, he called you soft, called Americans weak. What do you say now? Cassius pauses, thinks, then says, I didn't beat him because I'm American. I beat him because I'm Cassius Clay. And Cassius Clay doesn't lose. That's when the confidence comes out. That's the beginning of I am the greatest, right there, in Rome, at 18 years old. But something else happens, something nobody expects. Later that evening, the Soviet boxing coach approaches Cassius. He's older, stern, speaks through a translator. Coach, you fought well today. Cassius, thank you, sir. Coach, Shatkov is good boxer. You are better. You have special gift, speed, vision. We train this, but you born with this. Cassius nods, respecting the compliment. Then the coach says something that surprises Cassius. You fight like Soviet, strong mind, no fear, discipline. Cassius smiles, says no sir, I fight like American, free mind, no fear, no discipline, just me. The coach stares at him, trying to understand. In the Soviet system, everything is discipline, everything is structure, everything is control. But this kid, he's chaos. Beautiful, effective chaos. Hands low, moving unpredictably, breaking every rule, and winning. The coach nods slowly, says through translator, maybe. American way is also strong way. He extends his hand. Cassius shakes it. That moment, that handshake between the Soviet coach and the American kids, captured by a photographer. The image makes newspapers worldwide, because it represents something bigger than boxing. It represents a shift. The Soviets aren't unbeatable. Americans aren't soft. And this kid from Louisville just proved it. Let me tell you why this fight matters beyond boxing. The Soviet system was built on control, discipline, structure. Do exactly as you're told. Don't deviate. Don't improvise. Just execute the plan perfectly. And it worked. For years. Soviet boxers dominated because they were technically flawless. Perfect form, perfect strategy, perfect execution. But they lacked something. Creativity. Cassius Clay had zero technical perfection. His hands were low against all boxing rules. His footwork was unorthodox. His style was chaotic, but he had creativity, improvisation, freedom. He didn't fight the way he was taught. He fought the way he felt, in the moment, responding, adapting, creating. And that unpredictability, that freedom was impossible for the Soviets to handle. Because how do you train for chaos? How do you prepare for someone who breaks all the rules? You can't. This is the deeper lesson of that fight. Structure beats chaos most of the time. But when chaos is guided by genius, structure can't compete. The Soviets were structured, perfect, controlled. Cassius was chaos, unpredictable, free. And freedom, when wielded by the right person, is unstoppable. That's what America represented in the Cold War. Not perfection, not control. Freedom. The freedom to be different, to break rules, to create new ways. And on September 5, 1960, an 18-year-old kid from Kentucky proved that freedom works. Not through politics, through punches. Cassius Clay went on to win Olympic gold, beat everyone, dominated, came home a hero. But that fight against Shatkov, that's the one that mattered most. Because that's when Cassius learned, you don't have to be what they expect. You can be you. And if you is good enough, you wins. The Soviets expected Americans to fight like Soviets. Technical, controlled, predictable. Cassius fought like Cassius, chaotic, creative, unpredictable, and won. 4 years later, Cassius Clay becomes Muhammad Ali, beats Sonny Liston, becomes heavyweight champion, changes boxing forever. But it started here, in Rome, against a Soviet boxer who called him weak. That's when Cassius learned, the best way to prove someone wrong isn't to argue, it's to show them. Shatkov said, Americans are weak. Cassius didn't argue, didn't give a speech, didn't defend his country with words. He defended it with his hands. And in doing so, he didn't just win a fight. He announced to the world, I'm Cassius Clay. I fight my way, and my way works. That confidence, that certainty, that refusal to conform, that's what made him the greatest. Not his talent, his mindset. The mindset that says, I don't need to be like you to beat you. I just need to be me. The question's for you. Are you fighting your fight, or the fight they expect? What would happen if you stopped trying to be perfect and just tried to be you? Who told you that you're too chaotic, or too different, or too whatever? And what if they're wrong? Because Cassius was too young, too inexperienced, too unorthodox, too American, too everything. And he still won. Not by changing himself, by being more himself. That's the lesson. Soviet boxer, Americans are weak. 18-year-old Cassius Clay, I'll see you in the ring. 2 rounds later, gold medal. Free mind beats controlled mind, always. Comment, when did you prove someone wrong without arguing, just by doing? Tell your story. Like if free mind beats controlled mind just became your new philosophy. Subscribe for more untold young Ali stories. Next, the stolen bike that created a legend. Share with someone who's trying to fit into a system that wasn't built for them. Someone who needs permission to be themselves.